Lonely Monk Productions.
I don't know if y'all have heard the song Miami by Caroline Rose yet, but yo.
That's my Jawn! Hey yo, displace the guilt.
What's good, friends and family, neighbors near and far? Welcome to an all-new season of the Yo, That's My Jawn podcast. The podcast, website, brand, movement, way of life dedicated to the embrace and championing of your passions. I am your host, Nate Runkle, a.k.a. John Elmo Nate, a.k.a. Nate 3.0, back at it again with yet another episode of the podcast. As always, I hope this podcast finds you all in good health and in good spirits. On today's episode, Kevin McCall and Jordan Petrellis from the band Andorra join me for a chat about their new album, Boogie Night Blues, and so much more. That's coming up in a minute. But first, what is up, my friends? Happy 2023! We are back with an all-new season of the pod, and I am super stoked to get right back into it. You know, I had a good friend reach out to me a while back and say, "Hey, Nate, it's been season 3 for a while now. What makes a new season a new season? When are we going to get a season 4? And my answer was, I don't know. I really don't know. You know, season 1 was 7 episodes long. Season 2 was 6 episodes. And the one we just ended, season 3, well, that went for, let's see here, 33 episodes. So yeah, no rhyme or reason behind it. Just, you know, whatever the feels are, man. Well, that stops today. Now, from here on out, seasons will mean something. Seasons will change every year after the Christmas episodes, like we've just done. That makes sense, right? Well, yeah, I thought so too. So here we are, the first episode of the new season, and I am feeling good, family. And you guys are a family to me in the strictest Dom Toretto sense of the term. Family. And look, I am ready to watch successes from everyone this year. You, me, and the world. I just want our family to shine. My motto for 2023 is 2020 me. And not in the me as in I sense of the me, but me as in we sense of the me. All I want for this year is power and positivity for all of us. And I feel it, man. I feel it so much. This is the year. This one. Those last few, they kind of sucked hard. But 2020 me? Nah, this year is gonna be a dope one. I am so excited to bring you guys some amazing guests and conversations. I've already started recording some of those upcoming interviews. And guys, I am the luckiest dude in the world to be able to chat with such brilliantly creative artists and share that with you. And then to continue to follow and watch those people thrive, it has been so incredibly rewarding. I mean, just recently I've been able to see both the Tisburys and Paul Keen do what they do best and command the stage with a full frontal assault of talent and style. And this Friday, I'm getting to see the homie G Love rock out the TLA with Donovan Frankenreiter in what I'm sure is going to be a bangin' night. All I'm saying is, I love watching my friends and family cook, and y'all, we are cooking this year. All of us. 2020 me and beyond. But so much will be happening on the Yo, That's My Jawn front in the next few months, and I don't want a single one of you to miss out on the fun. Don't get left behind. So if you have not done so, please jump on www.yothat'smyjawn.com and sign up for the mailing list. It is the best way to keep yourself abreast of what I got cooking in the kettle for the Yo, That's My Jawn podcast brand movement, yada, yada, yada. And be sure to follow us on all of the socials at Yo, That's My Jawn. If there is a social, we're there, and that's it. At Yo, That's My Jawn. But, you know, if you're on one and we're not there, you tell me, and we'll be there quicker than a quick thing does quick stuff. Because, guys, I don't want to miss out on that party either. Bet. All right. brief ad break, then me, Kevin, and Jordan, we gonna have us a little chat. Stick around. My guests today met in high school, and they've been making music ever since. Their new album, Boogie Night Blues, is an exquisite 9-song collection of Memphis-infused boogie rock tracks. Opening with the guitar rockin' Brothers in Arms and Not Letting Up until the swanky rhythms of Fairmount Blues, the band has channeled years of chemistry as a live act into a tremendous Stones-inspired album that has precisely captured their love of music, packaged in bluesy guitar-driven boogie that'll have you bopping the night away. Folks, it is my honor to welcome to the show Kevin McCall and Jordan Petrellis of the band Andorra. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined today by Kevin and Jordan of the great band Andorra. Guys, thank you for joining me on Yo, That's My Jawn.
Yo, thanks for having us. How are you, Nate?
Doing excellent. First of all, what I wanted to lead this off with is congratulations on a 10-year anniversary. I got a chance not to finish it, but to start the documentary that you guys uploaded to YouTube or whatnot. And it's so fascinating just to kind of hear your backstory. And now I'm going to make you regurgitate so much of that. But
well, thank you. I'm glad you weren't bored the whole time. I feel like it's a little bit of a lift if you don't know us, but appreciate you checking it out. But yeah, Jordan and I started this band called Andorra back in like August 2010 and sort of been just keeping it alive since then. We've had a rotating cast of different players over the years, different session guys that have joined us in studio, and then different folks have joined us live and touring and whatnot. So what this core group that we have right now with Michael and Jordan on bass and guitar respectively are kind of like our main guys, our brothers in arms. And we've been like this established band, I think, for 6 years is what Dante said the other day. So he would know he's got Andorra tattooed on his thigh. So yeah.
That's awesome. So, like, where did you guys grow up? Kevin, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to Jordan.
Yeah, I grew up in like suburbs, like Norristown, East Norton area, and the other founding member, quote unquote, Chris Chernosky, got me in trouble a lot in public schools. So my mom was like, going to yank him out and send him to St. Helena's Catholic school, and that's where I met Jordan. And I don't know. I think we just clicked right away, and there wasn't too many folks there that were like gung ho about starting a band. So we just kind of bonded over that and just modern music at the time, and we've been buddies ever since.
Yeah, I grew up in the same area. Obviously, went to Kevin. When did we meet? Like fifth grade, sixth grade. You came.
Sixth grade.
Yeah, sixth grade. And yeah, Kev lived down the street from that school, so. Yeah, and definitely just kind of wanted to start something. I kind of barely played drums at the time. I think everybody kind of barely played their instruments at that time. But, came together in the end, right?
That's awesome. Yeah, that's very similar to my best friend and I. We started playing in a band before either of us could play instruments. We were like a lip sync band, essentially. We would play with like fake instruments and pretend. And then like he got a hold of a drum set and I got a hold of a guitar, and it was like, well, I guess I play guitar and you play drums. Like, yeah.
That's how I became the singer too. I was like, nobody else wants to sing. Okay, I guess that's me. So
that's awesome. So when you were like growing up, like what kind of music was playing around the house?
Go ahead. You go first.
Yeah. For me, it was like, a lot of classic rock, Beatles, Stones, and just anything that was like playing on MMR or 104.5 at the time. And back in my dad's pickup truck, I kind of remember hearing Danny California for the first time, just like full volume. So like that was like the modern rock music at the time. That was pretty inspirational, I guess. And and I think like there's some overlap from that. And then Jordan will probably tell you he listened to Rush and Boston and a bunch of records from his dad's record collection. So like very much like reflective of what our parents' tastes were. And then just I guess that's how it goes. It's sort of in your DNA at that time. And that's what you end up liking and digging and sort of setting forth out to do with if your hero's Neil Peart, I'm sure you're going to be a drummer. So
yeah, for sure. And I think another thing that really affected us earlier on was the music scene. My brother is like 5 years older than me, had a band, and so we were kind of connected in with some of their scene at the time. And I think a lot of the music that they were playing, which is somewhat similar vibes to our music, kind of rubbed off on us, and that was kind of our gateway into some of those musicians. And some of those same guys that we met through my brother and his band ended up recording our first album with us, like engineering and things like that. So yeah, that was another good connection that kind of helped us, get our ways along.
Yeah. A lot of MySpace at the time, MySpace music players. That was, like refreshing the page until it was midnight, and then the song was live. And oh shit, Joey's band has got a new song out. So we would kind of be excited for our older brothers in that way, and then trying to kind of do our own version of that.
That's awesome. That's I forget who I was talking to about this, but I really miss like the MySpace kind of experience, like especially for music. Like it was a great way to stay in contact with other bands and stuff like that, and listen to their music and meet other fans of theirs and stuff like that. Like everything's so segmented now, like, okay, here's my Bandcamp page, but here's also my Instagram and my Twitter. And then I also sometimes, have a Substack, and I did, like all these different kinds of disparate kind of things where it at one point in time was all on one site,
Right. Yeah. We just put out the record, obviously, and I was like, oh, I have to go and update everything. So yeah, I feel that it's just remembering a lot of passwords and sort of the rebranding of everything too. Like we were going for like this black and gray kind of thing. So crap, I gotta figure out how to change the Bandcamp around, I guess. So yeah, that's very much just went through it, so for sure.
Yeah, I feel like early on too, like when you don't, you prioritize all the wrong things when you're early on in a band. You're like, okay, what's the album artwork going to look like? And way back in the day, it was, okay, what's our MySpace banner going to be? What color are we going to make the page? It's like all the wrong things. Everything except the music was prioritized. In the early days.
I've been pulling out this quote a lot, but there's a really funny Family Guy bit where they're all in prison and they started like a jailhouse rock band, and they're getting ready to play their first gig, and they're like, oh my God, we don't have any songs. So
yeah,
that was us for a little bit, but we found our way, and we found the folks that kind of fit in and helped us, gig this thing out.
Yeah, when you guys first started like kind of playing together, like obviously were you writing songs like immediately, or were you just doing covers like everybody does?
I think
we were actually the opposite. We were like writing original songs first. I don't know how that happened, or like there's no right or wrong way to do things, but
sure.
I feel like we just always did like the wrong thing, and one of the first songs that we wrote together is a song called Black and Blue off our first record. And I very distinctively remember writing that in my parents' basement with Jordan and Chris Chernosky, who was our bass player. And we had like the Pabst Blue Ribbon neon beer sign in there, and like that, and probably strobe light were the lights on. And as we were writing this song, and like if I think back, that's kind of like that is the song essentially, like in color. So that's like a very fond memory of like writing our first song together and being in a room and writing music. And that's still our favorite part of like being a band, like just the collaborative process of being in a room with humans and like, writing stuff together, bouncing ideas off each other. Like that's how these past batch of songs were written. And that's how the record before were all to get written together essentially. So
yeah, I think our first gig we probably played 5 or 6 songs. I think 5 of them were probably originals, maybe a little bit less, but I think the only cover we were playing back then, we played Sex and Candy back
Sex and Candy by Mercy's Playground.
Yeah, I don't know if there was any. I can't think of any others that we played that early on, and that was kind of like we need to fill the set list. I guess we'll cover a song kind of thing because we didn't have that much music.
It's a great pick too. Like it's just a great
So
song.
random.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was Chris's, our bass player at the time. He's like one of the only people I know that had a cell phone. It was a hand-me-down, and Mercy's Playground, Sex and Canyon was like the only downloaded ringtone on it. He's like, "What is this song?" I was like, "I don't know. Maybe we should cover it." And that's how it happened.
Dude, that
That's
came up
awesome.
on my YouTube suggested the other day, completely randomly, like the actual music video, and I was like, "Oh my god, we used to cover this." It's the only reason it was fresh in my mind.
That's so great. So, those early days, you said the first song you wrote actually ended up on the first album. Like, did it click for you guys like immediately, like kind of creating your sound that early on, or?
Yeah, I don't think we were going for anything like specific sound wise. It was just like what are we capable of doing at this time, and whatever came out was what we had. And there's like there's a combo of songs from the first two records that we really gigged out. A song called Habits, a song called Ain't It a Shame, Black and Blue, What Goes Around. They were like the songs that we gigged out during the time we were writing and getting ready to record our first record, et cetera, et cetera. And, like it became like a rotating cast of different players, different buddies from high school, whatever. People came and went to college. We would like lose a member every year, but it was always just Jordan and I. So that first record was pretty much just me and Jordan in the studio once again, but we had these like fully formed, shaped songs that I think were like really just like ironed out because we were able to gig them so much, and just we got to figure out how to play them and like what we wanted to do differently in the studio or what didn't work. We like figured that out the hard way along the way for maybe 2 years until we got into the studio to really, finally track them, because we had no money at the time. We had no budget. We had no skills, no sweet skills. So we were just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, some of the early songs, even from like 2012, 2013, I think is when Habits and Elephants came about, and they're on the second record, which was, I don't know, 2 or 3 years after the first record, but they existed that whole time. It just kind of like, gotta see where things fit and whatnot. So like those we gigged for so many years before we recorded them.
Has that process stayed the same? Like, do you kind of compile and play out your songs prior, or have you moved to becoming more of a studio creator? Or
I definitely would not consider us studio writers. Like, maybe there's times when there's some like acoustic songs often kind of develop in the studio, but for the most part I would say for the most part, we're writing a song, usually playing it at quite a few gigs, and then going into the studio. But, it's not the case for every single song, but definitely the majority.
It's how we craft it. It's how we shape the song. Like there's stuff that we do live that might not be on the record. And like there's times where like we would figure things out in a live setting and then be like, damn, I wish we recorded that. So in an effort to not have that be the case every time, we just try to, hit the ground running, tour them out as much as possible, and then be like, okay, this is how this arrangement's going. This has what has worked in a live setting. Because for us, I think the live show is everything. Like we're a live band. So if it's going great that way, then I think that's how it needs to be recorded. So first and foremost, we're certainly a live band, but there's some outliers where, I definitely think Jordan's right on the money with like acoustic songs or like, there's the song, Fairmount Blues, which is the closer on our new record, is like, it kind of formed in the studio more than anything. So, it depends on the song, but certainly trying to make sure it's a good fit. Maybe we throw it out or rework it if it wasn't good in the live setting.
Yeah. So early on, like where were you guys playing? Like, did you kind of venture into the city quickly, or were you in the burbs?
I mean, we were in the burbs for a good while. We had a set Kevin and myself and a number of other individuals started this like set of a few shows we did at this place called the Implement and A Church in Ambler. And like kind of created our own shows. Like we brought the PA, we brought the audience, we did the advertising, whatever. And so those kinds of shows are really cool at first. And it really wasn't, I mean, there were some exceptions, but it really wasn't until we all went to college in various Philadelphia schools where we started to really, really, really gig Philadelphia. We did some stuff in high school. Like we may have, I don't think we played Milk Boy in high school, but there were definitely some Philly shows a little bit earlier on, but it was really school that kind of drove us all to start playing more in Philly.
We definitely played a lot of bars underage too. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. Outside of Philly or not. Yeah. That was always a pain in the butt in getting in those.
Yeah, that's like a rite of passage, especially in this area. But you name checked Ambler. Spoiler alert, that's where I am right now.
I'm with the Hicken grad.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Well, that totally makes sense. That all tracks. So, where did you guys go to college?
I went to University of the Arts.
I went to Drexel.
Okay. Yeah. So, when you went, was there any kind of concern or fear about the band not doing anymore? Or were you guys pretty steadfast at that point? Like, we'll keep this together.
Yeah. I mean, I almost went to Syracuse. There was a good chance. And I know for me, that was like maybe I won't be able to do it anymore then kind of thing.
Yeah. I remember Jordan, we were at a gig and he got his acceptance letter. I was like, oh shit, I guess, I don't know. I wasn't sure how he thought. And I don't really know that we had a conversation about it, but I knew as long as he was in Philly, I think we would have kept it going. So thank God he stuck it out and stayed around. So
yeah, I don't even know what members were in the band at that time other than us two. Like when we were going into college, I don't think Michael was in the band yet, was he?
Yeah, and then Michael, our bass player, who I've been neighbors with and like best pals with since kindergarten, he kind of was just like, it just made sense. You know, he played in other bands and we've gigged as Andorra alongside him in like other iterations of bands and projects that he's been in over the years. But I think he was finally just like, hey, like, can I just be in the band? And it made perfect sense. You know, we should have probably put him in the band sooner, but I don't know what the hold up or what the blockage was with that, but he quickly became the full-time bass player in Andorra. And then I met Dante, our lead guitar player, at UArts shortly after too. And we've just kind of been solidified as this band, and we've been having a blast just gigging around Philadelphia and the greater area for, I think I said like 5-6 years at this point as this iteration. So yeah, it's been pretty steady, and you know, we're not, this is it. This is the band. If all else fails, then I think we're done. But this is the band.
Yeah, having that core now, has it kind of freed you up to be more adventurous writing the material that you're putting together? Because and this is just, you know, an outsider looking in, but it feels like that on Boogie Night Blues you took some swings with this one that and you completely made contact and knocked it out of the park, if you ask me, because it's awesome. Like it's a banger of an album. I absolutely love it. And of course I'm going to pick your brain about it in a little bit here, but having that core, has that like really helped with the songwriting?
Oh yeah, I think Dante will be the first to say it, but he's like, we just get weird, like, you know, and there's like no right or wrong answer. There's really no boundaries either. So like, you know, like that hasn't necessarily happened this example yet, but like if there was ever a question or concern about lyrics, I'd be like, yeah, well, like, let's talk about it. Or like, you know, I think our 2019 release, Family Tree, had some pretty exceptional, like, just genre bending kind of songs where like it was like a funk song, and like there was then like a Neil Young inspired folk song. So I feel very comfortable with these guys to be able to be like, I just want to do this with this song, and like they'll follow my lead, or like if it's their idea, then I'll follow their lead. So there's no like weirdness into trying new things with this group of people now.
Yeah, I think like speaking for both of us, possibly incorrectly, but like I kind of consider Kevin and I just like, rhythm rockers. And so adding Michael and Dante on top of that, Michael's a music teacher. He is very theoretical, is very good at that kind of technical stuff, shifting things small ways that make huge impacts. So adding him to the band, and then Dante, who can just shred whenever he wants to, really kind of opened up what we could do. And I think that shows not only on the most recent album, Boogie Night Blues, but also on the previous album as well.
Definitely. Like, and it obviously makes sense that, the more you play with people, the more you'll grow. But like, you can definitely feel, that kind of, I don't want to say safety net because that sounds limiting, but like that kind of confidence in each other and that trust in each other, kind of in some, like like I said, taking a wild swing and trying something different, and it definitely pays off. Like I said, this new album I've been playing for the past few weeks is like just absolutely stellar. It just came out on Friday. Congratulations. This will air a little in the future, but for us, it just came out on Friday. Everybody else can find it wherever they get their streaming and stuff. Some of it has, I would say, some strong studio elements. How does it work? Like how does a song like Guts work live? Because there's so much going on in there.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Well, I guess to back it up, we had a very serious time recording Family Tree. It's just a record that took itself very seriously. So I think we needed to take ourselves seriously in the studio doing that. So we sought out to just have fun in the studio with this one. And we recruited our buddy Tommy Leahy, who was formerly in the band, toured with us, played some shows with us as a lead guitar player. And, he track engineered the record for us. And he just like helped bring this re-energized fun to the band again that I think might have been lacking a little bit in Family Tree. But that's kind of what the goal was, really. We just wanted to have fun making a fun record, and like stuff like the shooby doobies in the chorus, they're like, it's certainly maybe more of a studio thing, but Jordan's girlfriend Amy has joined us and sung those live with us a few times. So we're like very much a family band in a way too, where like we do that. Like I don't think anybody does that. Like there might be another band out there that has tried to do that where it's become a problem, whereas like we're just really close and have been friends over the years, and my wife and her are very close too. So like we're just very comfortable and friendly with each other, just to kind of go back to that point. But am I getting there? Is this answering?
Yeah, totally.
It's like at any recent gig we've played over the last 2-3 years, there's bound to be like 3 or 4 ex-Andorra members at the gig, and it's usually a question of like, okay, who are we bringing up tonight to guest play with us? Like, so I think that's part of what you're trying to get at. Is when you say we're a family band, I think you almost quite literally mean it. And recreating stuff, especially like Guts. So we only recently started adding keys to our arrangements, and Anthony, I don't know how to say his last name, Sadek, I guess.
Anthony Sadek, yeah, he went to Westchester with our buddy Michael, but the two of them had played in projects previously, and he kind of introduced him as more of a session guide for us. We would record in Tommy's studio here in Glenside, and then basically ship the tracks off to him in Nashville, and he would just play over them. But it was so good, and we flew him out for a couple things, just to have some good gigs. And I think one time he was around during like Thanksgiving holiday time, so like he was just home, so we were just like, let's get together and like play through the songs, because you killed them, and it was just so organic and natural that it was like, why don't we just keep having you come and sit in whenever you're around. And we've been doing that. So like that's again another element that we've added to the live show, and he's incredible. He shreds, and he's an awesome keyboard player. So we love having him, and yeah, it's not always easy because like sometimes we layer guitar parts, and sometimes there's dubs that happen that you can't necessarily replicate live. But I think the important part is that like the energy's there live and people are enjoying it. So if we're missing half the song, or like I'm not nailing vocals or whatever, as long as people are there and are energized, then like I'm fired up, and I think we're all gonna go home and be like, that was a great gig. Let's reflect on that and do it all over again.
Oh, it's dope. You mentioned Family Tree was 2019, and we're 2023. You've just released the new album. There was something that happened in between there. Oh, there was a pandemic. That's right. Right. So you mentioned that you guys work a lot crafting songs live. When did you start working on this album? Because live shows were a definite challenge the past few years. So.
Yeah, I think what was interesting for us is, especially like as things were kind of just opening back up, like people weren't really doing shows yet. This was just a small thing, but Kevin works at the Grape Room, and so we have the privilege of sometimes being able to kind of get on stage there when it's closed. And having that ability for us during this time, we recorded a small live set there when we kind of thought Grape Room was actually going to be closing. And so we got to go in when it was closed and kind of record a set and run some of these songs. I think we ran 3 or 4 of what ended up being on the album, and kind of posted those online, and then also live streamed them. So being able to get to work things in that way, especially before everything had opened back up, to be on a stage was, I think, really helpful. We actually kind of wrote one of the songs at Vavavoom on the newest album. We wrote a significant portion of that song on stage at the Grape Room. So just being in that environment before we really got to be, full time was a huge help.
No,
Yeah.
It makes sense. Yeah. You mentioned the Grape Room. I'm a former original player. I still write and I still play out every once in a while, but it's few and far between. But the Grape Room was my spot. I used to back originally when it was the Grape Street Pub, and then the Move, and then back. I always followed along. I love that room. How long have you been working with Grape Room?
Yeah, I got a job booking that stage fresh out of college in like 2018.
Okay.
It was like a weird circumstance. Had a hold on a date with Scooter and sort of dropped the ball on it. And I was like, sorry, I'll make it up to you. I'll just like book the show. And he's like, oh, you would do that? I was like, yeah, sure. I'll do that next week too. And it just kind of kept getting an invite to come back. So yeah.
Oh,
and then,
nice.
and we love that place. It's our home away from home. And like Jordan said, we have the key to the front door. We can go in and whatever we want, and sort of just set it up, and a little theatrics had to happen in order to make that feel like it was a real show. But we definitely got to be on that stage during a crazy time, and a lot of this was probably the first record where some of this material was written somewhat separately. Like we kind of have a little bit of a structure here, a little bit of like a ongoing formula that is an Andorra song, which usually consists of me kind of just bringing the bones of the song to the band, and then they rip it apart and stitch it back together in this like new collaborated on version. I think Losing It was probably the first song that I showed them all, and that quickly turned into me going like, hey guys, I think this is like going to be a boogie rock blues record. I hope you're okay with that. That's kind of the direction I think we're going in, and if you're down for it, let's lean into it. And they're like, oh yeah, sure, let's do it. So that all very much happened in the middle of COVID, and we've just been expanding on it and waiting for everything to die down, and then just getting in the studio. It took a lot of time just to wait out all that crap. But then now I feel like we're in a better place and we feel comfortable playing out and doing the thing. So.
Yeah, you mentioned the boogie rock aspect of it all, and what kind of informed that direction for you, like that you were feeling it? Because like there's so many, and I don't know if they were influences or not, but there's so many things that come to mind when I listen to it that I don't hear in contemporary music really anymore, and things I love and things I missed. Like, you know, I was talking about Guts. Like Guts to me feels like at its core almost like a New York Dolls song. Like it's got like kind of that personality crisis, kind of like just banging on a piano in it. But what kind of led you down that path? Yeah,
I think it comes from the Family Tree record taking itself a little too seriously, and then we never broke up or took a break or a hiatus or anything. I know our press release might seem like that's what happened, but we were very much like all speaking, talking, writing still, but we all kind of went and did our own things for a little bit just to kind of see what else is out there. I've been playing for the New York Yankees, playing with Andorra since I was 12 years old. So like there is nothing I've checked. I've gone out there and I've played with other bands. Nothing beats playing with these guys, but I think I had to find that out for myself. So in that I joined a couple different bands just to see how like this guy runs his band, or like what is it like to be the bass player in a band. And then in addition to that, Michael started a bluegrass band. Dante traveled the world with Pigeons playing ping pong and Bright Eyes. And I think what I did impacted the music the most by starting this classic rock cover band with our friend Ramon Gadea. And we just covered like every Stones song under the sun. So it was like very much, you know, very Rolling Stones inspired. It's like my family's favorite band, so naturally it's my favorite band. So you know, there's huge Stones influences on it, I think. And one of my favorite live bands right now is Low Cut Connie as well. So that's kind of what did it for me.
Yeah, definitely. The other thing I hear in there a bit, in some of the songs, like In Touch, is kind of like T-Rex and Big Star, like that kind of just like power pop, and it's just like it's so good. Like I'm such a fan of your guys' your album. Like it feels really really good. So do you know like we just kind of mentioned, the album just came out. You just did the album release party. Are you planning on trying to tour this, or?
Yeah, if I can get these guys to do it again, I'd love to. It's just something small, maybe something northeast. You know, I have a little route in mind, but yeah, we toured a little bit last summer and had some damage to a van that we rented, and the vibes were bad, basically. So
morale was low.
Right. So, but I think like, you know, that, and the funny thing about that week looking back is like, everything was just out of our hands. It was like the Milk Boy closed, and that was supposed to be like our homecoming show. And then it was like, all right, we got to replace that. DC's venue was like, we're doing the same thing. Got it. You know, so it was just like a lot of band-aiding, and it felt like that from the beginning. And then, but that's tour, you know, like that's just what happens. But I'd love to go out and do it again, because we have some friends in the Boston area, the Shirts and Shoes, that I'd love to go play a show with up there, and you know, just kind of spread the network that we've created over the years and see how far out we can get.
Yeah. Music video? Are you working on any music videos or anything like that? Any kind of other promotional projects, or?
I guess we should, but nothing in the works, nothing on the calendar at the moment.
All right, I have a pitch then for you, because I love it. All right, here's and now yeah, I don't know what your budget would be, but what you do,
Not much.
all right, all right, you do Hidden Desires, right, as a retro video, like Whiskey A Go Go, Sunset Strip, 80s kind of like Poison, Crew, LA Guns N' Roses. And I think, maybe even, this is why I was saying budget, make the grape look like the whiskey and do like, the concert footage and all. Yeah, that's my,
Okay.
that's my pitch for you.
Cool.
It's a decent idea. Plus, if it's grape, it's low cost,
Yeah. I'll and you know what? I'll direct it. We'll do it.
Deal.
Somebody mentioned to me that that like opening guitar riff sounds a little bit like I'm drawing a blank for some reason, but the Stones song that's in every Vietnam movie.
Yes.
Am I drawing a blank?
Give Me Shelter.
Yeah, Give Me Shelter.
Yeah.
We should just shoot it in like a
forest. Scratch the
guns.
other. Yeah, scratch the other idea. I was just going, yes, do a Vietnam film. Yes, that's perfect. Oh my God, totally perfect. Or you just do the Altamont scenes from Give Me Shelter and
sure. Apocalypse Now, whatever.
Yeah. No. So like, was there anything that didn't make it on this album that like, are you looking to live with this project for a while, or are you kind of thinking about what's next?
I think so. Yeah. We always look ahead. We typically skip all of this stuff for the records. It's just like the fun in all of this is the creating and the performing. So kind of ready to go do the next thing. We've been sitting on this record for a little bit, but we're going to keep gigging this out. We've been a band for 12 years, I think, at this point, with 4 records under our belt. So we're just always trying to think about like, what haven't we done yet and what direction do we want to go next? And that's really what excites us. So we're kind of just figuring that out and just waiting for time to cut away to go and nail all that down.
Yeah, and one other thing too that we've never done for another album, as of potentially today, we're going to get it cut to vinyl as well. So come out to our next show because we should have it. But yeah, I mean that it's going to be super cool. It was kind of decided like we're all so proud of this particular record. It's been a little while in the making, and I think the vibe also fits. As far as vinyl goes. So something that we've all wanted to do for a long time, be able to hold your LP in your hands. So assuming that comes to fruition, I think we're all pretty excited, and we'll have that to sell and promote as well.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and there was nothing that I don't think we cut out or skipped for this. Like we kind of wrote the record with the intention of making it short and sweet. It's about 30 minutes.
I said to Kev, I remember saying to you day one, before, I don't think we had any songs. I was like, our next record is going to be 8 tracks. Now this is 9 tracks, but I only knew about 8 tracks for like 80% of the time we were making it. And then you were like, actually, there's a 9th. But I said, the next record we're making is not going to be any longer than 8 tracks.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect length. Like, I keep harping back. The fact that you're putting out on vinyl is awesome. But like, I feel like the limitation of how much music you can put and keep quality on 2 sides of a 33 and a third is what made like some of those landmark albums that we all remember as strong as they are, because there was somewhat of a limitation, without going into the double album or whatever, to kind of say what you want and mean it. You know what I mean? Like, and like, I love a concise album, and this is, there's no fat to trim on this. Like, it's great, man. Like,
thanks. Yeah. And I think that's what we're going for, really. I said it earlier today, but from a lyrical standpoint, like it's easy to kind of just scratch the surface because you're always feeling angsty and fresh. And like, this time around, I'm older, a little bit more mature, wiser, whatever. So like you have to dig a little bit deeper to kind of say what you want to say in an intentional, meaningful way. And I think I did that this time. But you know, it gets harder, I think, the older you get when you know you're not angsty from Bluebell and there's nothing really going on besides your stomach hurting from eating taquitos at the 7-Eleven down the street.
Yeah. It's a weird thing where like, we used to always talk about like, I feel like Rage Against the Machine made the right decision of kind of not making new music after a while, because like, how can you be that angry for the rest of your life? You know, especially when you start finding some success, or when you start finding people who appreciate you, you know, not even just the success, but when people start like, you know, when you start communicating, when that communication is reciprocated in, you know, reviews and stuff like that, or just someone, you know, at a bar who was like, man, I really love that song and stuff like that. Like, what's there to be mad about anymore? You know what I mean? Like you're doing it, you know, and that's not to say that you can't be depressed and have a successful music career, but like, but yeah, like at a certain point, you got to fill that well with something else. And you know, it's, I don't even know how to finish that sentence. You know what what I'm getting at.
It's painting with a broad brush, but like I feel like so often the album after fame for a band is not necessarily a bad album, but is often not received well or whatever, because it's either making major changes. And yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it, right? It's you've hit it now, and it becomes a lot difficult to write, writer's block, whatever. It's definitely changes things.
Yeah, and like especially really successful bands, like once there's a budget and there's money and you can just find a Wurlitzer that that you want to buy and just put in the studio and stuff like that. And when you want to you ship something over from England because you saw it and you heard it on some recording and you bought the board from that somebody, like, once all that stuff starts happening, you kind of start losing the grit almost,
right.
But that's me. I like demos. I like broke recording. I like the struggle, man. That's me,
Yeah, sure.
So locally though, what you have shows on the docket coming up, you said?
Yeah, we have something queued up, February 24th. It's our buddy Matt DeMeo, his birthday show that we're going to be playing at the Falzer Club. Details TBD. Figuring that out right now. And some cool stuff happening in March. We're just going to keep kind of gigging around and keep it kicking until Dante goes back on the road with Bright Eyes, or we're ready to hit the studio again and just try to nail down some more original stuff.
I dig it. What's the reception been like? Not just for the album, but but live. Like, how are people kind of reacting to the songs?
I mean, last Friday, Milk Boy, that show was incredible. Yeah, we all kind of agreed, like, as far as how it felt, it was like top 3 for us, and I think equally in reception. That was one of the most major gigs that Anthony, our new keyboardist, played with us. And there was tons of people after we got off on stage saying, "Oh my God, the keyboard, changes everything." And I think it does fill out a lot. So we'll probably keep flying him out to play with us. But yeah, it has, not only have we received, I think, some pretty good feedback, especially after that show, but that show just felt amazing. Like it was just like straight through, it didn't feel like any hiccups for any of us. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. The only thing I wish I could have been a little bit more like limber, I guess. Like the steps getting up there with like a 50-pound amp is like, it just does damage to your legs. And I was just like, at one point I was like, oh my God, I'm still up here. So like that was the only thing that I have to say. Cause I was like, wow, I'm not really moving around like I used to be. What the hell happened? And I was like,
I think you were in your head. I think you were moving around more than you thought you were.
Put a little workout in there.
Oh, it's great. I love it. Well, gentlemen, you want to go through this Jauntlet questionnaire? These are my questions that I ask every guest. They're very simple. The first half is the one hit wonders. You're just picking one or the other. So we'll go Kevin then Jordan on these just to kind of keep the flow moving.
That's good.
So the first one, Billy Joel or Elton John?
Elton John.
Okay, Jordan.
Elton John.
Yeah, I feel it. You know, I always like to tell people this, but I always, in my head, kind of guess based off of people's music who they're going to pick, and that was it. But there's one coming up, and I'll let you know when it happens. That we'll see okay. How my guesses went. We'll see how I did. Number 2, Debbie Harry or Joan Jett?
Joan Jett.
Joan Jett.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, see, there's this synergy going on. You can tell you guys have known each other for as long as you have.
He's just played. He's just mimicking. He doesn't know the right answers.
Okay. I definitely used you as influence on the Elton John one, but Joan Jett, come on now.
Oh, I feel it. Next one, Aretha Franklin or Tina Turner?
Tina Turner.
I feel like I got to change it up because it would just be boring if I didn't. So I'll go Aretha Franklin. Sure.
Okay. Now you got to fight. Now you guys got to arm wrestle it out. Nirvana or Pearl Jam?
Oh, I'm curious on this.
Yeah,
one.
This is an interesting one. I mean, I am the biggest Dave Grohl fan in the world, but there's something about going back and listening to Nirvana's catalog that feels like do not touch, right? Like it's just too holier than thou. So I could throw on Pearl Jam, whatever. So I'm going to go with Pearl Jam.
I'll go with Nirvana just because you can't beat Dave's way of drumming. Just his cracking the drums. There's nothing better than it. So I got to go Nirvana.
I love it. Now I'm going to ask you guys, because you guys seem like very big Dave Grohl fans. And I am a big Dave Grohl fan too. And we did this episode a few years ago when the Foo Fighters got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And some people say, possibly rightfully so, that we were very mean to one Mr. David Grohl. But here's the entire thing. Do you think the Foo Fighters deserve to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame now? Like right now, they got in 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Do you think that's a deserved entry, or is it too soon?
Too soon.
Well, I'm glad they got in with Taylor Hawkins. I think that's
very true.
Knee-jerk reaction, but definitely too soon. I think there's some bands that are not existing now that probably like Jane's Addiction comes to mind that probably should have been in there. I don't know that Soundgarden or a couple of Cornell's projects are in that probably deserve to be in, right? Everybody's always been like Nine Inch Nails aren't in, and feel like they deserve, and they're probably have maybe 10 years on. Maybe.
And that was the whole argument. And it wasn't there was 3 of us on it. It was like a roundtable discussion. And one guy is a Foo Fighters hater. The other guy was kind of mid-ground. And then there's me who I love the Foo Fighters. I've seen them live so many times and I love them. But but I'm the one who started it. I was like, there's no goddamn way this band should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame right now. Yeah. It's so weird to me. Because I said, it opened a floodgate, and I was like, you look, if someone nominates Weezer to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I'm going to punch somebody in the fucking face. Sure. Maybe 10 years from now, if that were to happen, I'd be perfectly fine with it. But goddamn, Harry Nilsson is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You're going to put goddamn fucking Rivers Cuomo in there?
It does come down to two, whether, I don't know what their criteria is, but it comes down to whether you're looking at it too as a popularity contest or what they've done for music, right? Foo Fighters, as of recently, I mean, especially the last few years, and before they got introduced, they were blowing up, absolutely enormous, just stadium after stadium after stadium, and then the records sold, whatever. So they were just absolutely enormous. And I think if you look at it more what have they done for music, there might be, I'm sure there are much better arguments for other acts, right?
Yeah. Well, I always say the sacrilegious thing of like, I actually like the Foo Fighters more than I like Nirvana, but I would never say that the Foo Fighters should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame over Nirvana. Like, that's just ludicrous. You know what I mean? So like,
I think they got in, Nirvana was inducted maybe like 2 or 3 years prior to the Foo Fighters thing.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been that much of a difference. But all I'll say is I'm sure you got to pay some dues to get in there, and Grohl's loaded. So I'm sure he paid them.
Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. I'm going to fight this argument for the rest of my life, and they're in the Hall of Fame, and I don't even really care that they're in the Hall of Fame. It's just the idea that they're in the Hall of Fame that like just blows my mind. Yeah. But I got off track.
I'm glad they're in the Hall of Fame just because they were able to induct Rush. That's the only reason I'm glad that they're there.
That was yes. 100%. Counterparts tour 94, third row from the stage at the Spectrum, and it was one of the best concerts I've ever been to in my life.
I have the reprint of Counterparts downstairs. It's one of my favorite records.
Nice. It's great, isn't it? Oh my God, it's so good. Next one, Janis Joplin or Stevie Nicks?
Stevie Nicks.
Yep. Stevie Nicks.
Okay.
My mom did an MRI on her. Just fun fact.
That is an awesome factoid. If you had a Wikipedia, I would literally go put that in the Wikipedia right now. This is the big one: Beatles or Stones?
Okay. Stones. Are you going Beatles? I was going.
It's hard. I think I'd say Stones. Yeah, just I think our buddy Tyler Ashay from the Tisberries, and recently we did it was at the Grape Room for their 12-year anniversary. We did a Beatles versus Stones thing, and he sat in and played keys, and he said the Stones is more of like the rock and roll party, like the party, and then the Beatles are the emotional party. So it depends on how you want to party, but typically I'm a Stones guy, but love the Beatles too.
Yeah, I like that. And the people who listen to this podcast are going to be like, here we go again. Here he goes. But like, to me, like the Beatles are like 3 3/4 like geniuses, in like their own regards, and they all made very beautiful music. But like the Stones are just a fucking band, man. Like they're just a band, and they just rock. And like, someone said to me recently, and they were like, okay, but what about early, cavern Beatles? And I'm like, okay, you're right. Like, I don't have an argument. Like, I'm never going to argue against somebody saying they like the Beatles more. You know what I mean? Like, it's just what I prefer. And like, just the grit and the rock of the Stones is just kind of where I lay my hat. Like, so I'm with you guys.
Yeah. And we cover both of those bands too.
It's true. Yeah.
What kind of Stones covers you do? I mean, all of them, or any particular one you kind of?
Andorra particularly is known to throw out a Miss You cover, and then Helter Skelter's been in our set list as well recently.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. I dig it.
Staple for us.
I dig it. Okay, the last one-hit wonder, Bohemian Rhapsody or Stairway to Heaven?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
I'll go Stairway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I like a good split. The next section is the top 10 countdown. You guys are from the area. You know the word. If you, any time Jawn is used in here, you can use it to be whatever you want. It doesn't have to be music. It can be anything in the world. So, number one, what was your first Jawn when you were growing up? What was the first thing you were obsessed with?
Ninja Turtles.
Yeah?
I think so. Yeah.
I dig it. Favorite turtle?
Leonardo.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was a Michelangelo myself.
There you go. Makes sense.
I'm gonna go like basic and just say like my first drum kit. Like that was getting that was just like that's all I cared about at the time. So I'll go basic and say that.
How old were you when you got that? You said right.
Probably like maybe 4 or 3 years before Andorra, I would say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was pretty young.
Dig it. Number two, what's your current Jawn? What are you into right now?
What am I into? I really like working right now, honestly. Like I love what I do for a living. So like anytime I'm not like booking shows, or like I also work part-time at Ardmore Music Hall. If I'm not there or like here working or planning on something, then like I'm kind of a mess. So I like my job. So
that's awesome. That's you're living the American dream. Like to find something that you love and to be able to do it is an absolute blessing. That's awesome. Jordan, yourself?
I think my current job is just like probably traveling, trying to do more of it with my girlfriend, and I blame social media. They send you all the posts, and then once you see one, that's all you get. So just like planning trips and trying to get out and do more shit, you know.
Do you have anything on the horizon? Any good trip?
Potentially going to Ireland with a group, like half of Andorra to 3/4 of Andorra coming up potentially. So we'll see.
Very cool. Very cool. Number 3, what was your first concert? What was the first live show you went to?
This is a really funny story. I'll make it quick though. My dad was like, "Do you want to see Pearl Jam or do you want to see Coldplay?" And I was like, "Ooh, I don't know, maybe Coldplay." And he's like, "No, you're going to see Pearl Jam." So we went and saw Pearl Jam.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a good one. Where was that at?
Probably Tweeter Center at the time. So maybe 2008, I think.
Okay. Yeah. I can dig it. Jordan?
Taking away like home shows and stuff, like my brother's band, probably Rush on the Snakes and Arrows tour at what was then, I guess, the Tweeter Center. Yeah.
I think I was there. I'm pretty sure I was there. Yeah. I love that band. And like there was a period of my life where that was literally the only thing I listened to was Rush. Number 4, what was your last concert? What was the last show you went to?
It's hard to define like work shows versus like shows I'm actually like actively paying a ticket for, because like I'm always at a concert. But I think the last ticket that I purchased to like see for fun was Foles at Franklin Music Hall with Jordan.
Oh, very cool. Jordan, was that your last show?
It was, but I forgot about that show in my notes. So the show I was at just like a week before that was Måneskin, and that was cool.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. We mentioned them. My last show, I just saw the Tisburys on Thursday at Sellersville. So
there you
go. With Stereo League. That was a good vibe, man. That was really cool. Number 5, what was your favorite concert? What was the best show you've ever been to?
I think I look back fondly at seeing Cage the Elephant at Electric Factory with our buddy Chris. It was just like my first concert by myself with like no adult supervision. It was just like wild. It was crazy. A lot of stage diving, just like moving with the crowd, being there. I hate that now, but that was probably my last. That was my favorite concert.
All right. Yeah. They were a band who I was always like into, but I was never like obsessed with or anything. And then I saw them open for Beck, and was seeing them live. It was like one of those like, oh, I get it now. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and then, it sent me down the rabbit hole. So, Jordan, favorite concert?
Taking out Rush of the equation because I don't want to repeat an answer. I've had to think about this before, and I think my answer is Florence, and it was at a 104.5 birthday show, which just like changed the whole experience. We had played the show earlier in the day. It was an incredible set, incredible day, and then we got to like tap it off by like being in the front row for Florence and the Machine, who I like didn't even like at the time, and then we saw them, and I was like, that was one of the best shows I've ever seen. So just because of the weirdness of the whole scene, Florence.
Oh, brilliant! I love it. Number 6, who have you never seen live that you wish you would have? They can be living or dead.
Prince.
Same. Yeah.
I didn't consider living. I didn't consider living or dead. So I only had living artists, but I'm going to go with that. I had on here Stephen Wilson and Porcupine Tree, or potentially also My Chem back when they were early or my Chem, not present day.
Not present day. Yeah. I dig it. And the grape room plays a part in my answer to this. Like for the longest time, it was Prince, but then someone talked about a specific show in an answer, and then like I now have a second answer to this.
Can I guess what you're gonna say?
Yeah.
You say Cornell at the Grapefruit Pub.
Close.
Okay.
Very close, actually. Jeff Buckley at the Grape Street Pub.
Okay, cool.
Which both of those voices, like literally either one of those would be like the best show ever.
Or even like Nirvana played Dobbs, right? Too. Like
yes.
That would have been crazy.
Yeah.
Like how crazy, like it is wild to like, think of those bands and those artists playing on stages that we've all played on, you know what I mean? Or Kevin, in your case, that you literally see all the time, like.
Well, I mean, it might sound corny, but like every time I go up, I don't think of it actively, but it's like there's the mural on the wall, and there's like all of the local folks that have contributed to that venue before me. So it's like there is, without knowing it's there, and it's just like that's harping on me. Like this place is historical, So it's an honor to play in Philadelphia in most cases, because you never know who's really played on those stages. So it's just like you have to have that respect in a way, just to walk on the stage.
100%. Number 7, name an unappreciated Jawn, something you wish had a little more shine to it.
Oh, do you have one ready, Jordan?
Can this be like, it could be anything, right? Like
anything,
it has to be related to literally anything.
Yeah, sure.
I'm only saying this because I recently had this conversation, but I had the flu like all the week before New Year's Eve, and it was terrible, and I like couldn't breathe out of my nose literally forever, and it sucked. And I remember like the first day I could breathe out of my nose, I was like, that shit's underrated. Like being able to just breathe normally with clear sinuses is goddamn underrated. I had this conversation today, so that's what I'm going with.
That's awesome. That's a fantastic answer.
So top that, Kevin. Top that.
Oh, I mean, breathing.
Yeah, top breathing.
Oh man, I'd say Canadian tuxedos.
Okay, all right.
I wish that could just be a look without anybody just saying anything. Just appreciate.
I love it.
I'm working with denim on denim, blue collar working class right here.
That's an awesome answer as well. 2 very great answers to that question. I love it. Number 8, favorite album.
Well, my favorite album 2022 was a band called Sweet Pill. They had an album called Where the Heart Is. It's like a Hallie Williams emo rock twinkly basement kind of guitar lead thing. So that's my favorite as of late. Of all time, harder answer. Foo Fighters, There's Nothing Left to Lose is my favorite Foo Fighter record, is my favorite band. But like of all time, I guess like, Rumors, something kind of generic.
No, it's
got to go that way though, right?
There is no wrong answer to this question. Well, we'll see. There should be no wrong answer.
Well, I don't think it's fair that you said 3, but I will say all time. I have to go Hot Fuss Killers.
Great one.
There's just no track on that album where I'm not actively listening and just in love. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that album as well. And I just discovered something, and it's that new single Boy. I haven't been able to get into it, and I finally figured it out this Christmas time what it is. And there's something on his voice, and I don't know what it is. It's like, and it's intentional, that I have a visceral reaction to the sound of. Yeah. And the only way I discovered it is because I have the same exact reaction to the delay Paul McCartney uses in Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time. Like I can't stand it, and it's not even about the song. It's literally the sonic palette makes me sick. And Boy does the same thing to me. And I want to know what he did and why he did it, but I think he hates me. I'll
have to check that out. I just put it up on Spotify.
I've heard it, but I don't remember the effect off the top of my head. So now I'm going to go listen.
It's like a pitch correction, but like noticeable, but not like Cher noticeable. It's weird. It's almost like he intentionally either sang it sharp or flat to get that effect. So like, it's one of those things that like I respect. They were trying something, but it just, for me, makes me want to vomit. So there's my little Killers note for the day. Number 9, name an artist whose output you'll consume anything they put out.
I feel like the older Queens and Stone Age have gotten over the years, the better their music has been. So they've constantly hit for me. I think it's a good answer for me.
Yeah, it's great.
That's a solid answer. Kind of wish that had been my answer, but that's okay. I think if Rush was still a band and still making music, my answer would be Rush. Given that can't be the case, I'll probably go Paramore. Paramore's been a band. I don't care what they release. They've changed genres pretty severely. It doesn't matter. I'm consuming whatever it is. So.
It's amazing that you say that, because did you see the I don't even remember what it's called, the Boston Festival that they just released the lineup of today?
With Queens. They're with Queens. Yeah,
they're both playing.
We might need to go to that.
I've already looked at plane tickets. I'm like, how do I get to Boston?
Oh, you drive.
I guess we could drive. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, Amtrak goes that far, doesn't it?
That was a happy accident. I forgot that was just announced today too.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's wild. Number 10, the 10th and final of the top 10 countdown. What is your favorite Jawn of all time? Again, it can be anything you want it to be.
My favorite Jawn of all time, Rocky Balboa.
Great answer. Real quick, I tried to get Sylvester Stallone on this podcast when he was doing the re-release of Rocky 4. And his people sent me the nicest rejection letter I've ever received. And I almost love it more than some of the yeses I've gotten in the past, because they were just so goddamn nice in it. Like, they were like, we appreciate you reaching out, but at this time we've run he's done all the press he's going to do for it, but we wish you the best of success on your endeavors. And I was just sitting there reading it like, my God, you've made me feel good by saying no. That's so crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah. Sorry, Jordan, I didn't mean to cut you off with.
It's okay. My answer is buffalo wings.
Oh, yes. Do you have a favorite buffalo wing spot?
Philly is tough with that. I don't feel like we have awesome wings, and so my
we were
answer
just talking about that.
Yeah, we were just talking about this, and so my answer would probably piss off a lot of people. But like, I love PJ Whelahan's. Their hot and honey wings are all that matters. So yeah, I'm gonna go hot and honey PJ Whelahan's wings for my favorite. But I think that's only because I just think the Philly scene is kind of missing awesome buffalo wings otherwise.
Yeah. I 100% agree. Like, it's very weird, like how it's almost like there's some places I can think of that have very good wings that I very much enjoy, but no single place that makes me go, oh, you know whose wings you need to try. Right. Though I will say one suggestion. You guys are somewhat area familiar. Have you ever been to Tex-Mex Connection in North Wales?
Nope, never.
I have.
Okay, their wings pretty good.
Okay.
Pretty good. Pretty meaty, or at least they used to be. That was pre-pandemic. So, things, supply chain could have screwed that up, but they're, yeah, exactly. They have a jerk wing that was like, I used to DJ there, and I play there over the summer out on the patio every once in a while and stuff like that. But their wings were always a very good snack that I very much enjoyed. Not enough to say that, stop what you're doing and go get them, but
sure.
but I love it. Flavor though, what I heard of Honey Hot. Is that your your
Hot
jam?
and Honey is go to. We love Hot and Honey. I don't think I've ever gotten a different flavor at PJ's before, even though they have like 15 on the menu. Hot and Honey. I think it was like the original, and it's just how to do it.
That's kind of our band practice tradition. Just post show or post practice, hit up a Beans and Williams, get a copper lager, and just throw some back. That's what we do.
I love it. That's a great tradition. Great tradition. So the album Boogie Night Blues is out on all of the things, but more importantly, people can head over to andorra.bandcamp.com and check it out straight from the source. The vinyl you said that you guys are cutting, is it going to be for sale on there as well, or just at shows?
Probably just shows, unless we don't sell well at shows. Then
let's say we're gonna put it on there. We might do some like a pre-order kind of option. Just they're gonna be pretty limited, so we want to make sure people who want to get them. So
if you want it, we'll get it to you.
That's kind of what I was getting at. Yeah, because I don't know if I'll be able to make the show or not, but I definitely want one. I actually have a thing that I do where if a guest has a vinyl, I try to get a copy of the vinyl, because I have a full section on my Discogs of just vinyls of people who have been on the show. So
awesome.
But no, the album is absolutely phenomenal, and you should be very, very proud of it. And I'm sure you are. But guys, listening to this, definitely check it out. However you can get to music. Because it's just absolutely stellar, and it's just something that I find very enjoyable, and is look, I think I'm gonna get a little woo woo because this is how I get, but I think music's important, and I think the music you guys have created here is very important, and it's a very great vibe, and so thank you for creating fucking dope shit, guys.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate you.
Thanks for the kind words. Appreciate it. Awesome.
Absolutely. Anything you would like to leave these silly folks with?
Keep streaming Boogie Night Blues, and we're gonna keep gigging this thing out. So just pay attention to our socials, and we'll let you know when we're coming to your town or just playing our town. So we'll hope to see you there.
I love it.
Keep an eye out for some potentially big shows. Who knows?
My many thanks again to Kevin and Jordan for joining me on the show today. You can find Andorra's new album, Boogie Night Blues, on all the streaming sites out there and on their Bandcamp page at andorramusic.bandcamp.com. And if you want to follow them on the socials, you can find them on Instagram at Andorra_music and on Twitter at Andorra Music. And the Andorra documentary is now up on YouTube. Check it all out. Links to all of that will be in the show notes. And it may be a new season, but for some of you, this may be your first time at the dance. Or, maybe your second time back. Or maybe you've been one of my day ones. Regardless of the amount of time you have allowed me to talk into your ears, if you have not done so already, please be sure to subscribe to the Yo That's My Jawn podcast, wherever you get your podcasts from. Give us a little rate and review action, and you will earn yourself your very own super awesome Jawn Scout Merit Badge for Citizenship of the World. Yes, you can do it. And hey, don't forget to visit www.yothat'smyjawn.com for articles, merchandise, and links to all of the previous episodes of this podcast. And while you are there, be sure to sign up for our mailing list to get all of the updates delivered straight to your inbox. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/YoThat'sMyJawn for updates and live streams. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Yo That's My Jawn, and search Yo That's My Jawn on YouTube to find the Yo That's My Jawn YouTube channel. Like and subscribe the heck out of that ish. We want to hear from you. Reach out, and touch some Jawn. All right, before I end this episode, I'd just like to give a loving shout out to legendary Philly DJ and icon Jerry Blavitt, the Geeter with the heater, who passed away just this last week. The Philly music community owes so much to that gentleman, and I am so completely saddened to hear that we lost him. So I leave you guys today with his words, a motto that I hope you take with you everywhere. Keep on rocking because you only rock once. Blue skies. Until next time, everybody.
Hey yo, displace the guilt and embrace the pleasure. Your taste in music doesn't have to be.
Yo, That's My Jawn is a Lonely Monk production written and produced by yours truly, Nate Runkle. Theme song by Phil Tyler Music featuring Nate 3.0. Special thanks to Fox Run Brands, DX Ferris, Andrew Scott, Natalie Runkle, and the incredibly brilliant and wickedly stunning Katie Daubney. If you or anyone you know has any ideas they would like to share or any guests they would like to hear on the podcast, please feel free to reach out to us at yothat'smyjawn@gmail.com. Or you can leave an audio message for us and possibly hear yourself on a future episode by visiting anchor.fm/ytmj/message. Until next time, be sure to displace the guilt and embrace the pleasure and shout to the world, yo, that's my Jawn.